on the other side, and that is what is being played out.
Okay, I just want to
You
stay with
want
you.
to
Let's hear this out. Okay, this is the father of Daniel Pearl, a Jewish American journalist of the Wall Street Journal, who was beheaded in Karachi. The people who beheaded him were taken out in an Indian strike on the 7th of May. This was the response of the father. Let's blow this up, and I want to hear this for a second.
Beautiful. Yofi, yofi.
Okay, that, ladies and gentlemen, is now the Jewish national anthem. It translates as long as in the hearts within the Jewish soul yearns and towards the eastern edges and onward, and eye gazes towards Zion, our hope is not yet lost, the hope that is 2000 years old. So, of the people involved, one is dead. There are two others who are still alive in Pakistan. Okay. Now, we could go in tomorrow and get them as well. But then what will we be told? We are signing another big fat check to the Pakistanis. It's mind blowing. Mr. Lali joining us this morning. Mr. Lali, what do you make of how this is now being digested? I mean, Donald Trump, has he lost a few friends in India yesterday? I mean, look at the cheek of the guy. I understand he wants to be the international hero, but he didn't even have the courtesy to let the Indians announce the ceasefire. He announced the ceasefire sitting in Washington. I mean, that's rather unimpressive. Bad form.
Thank you, Mr. Gulati, and never been too big a fan of Donald J. Trump. He said it's a 1,500-year-old conflict and he was going to finish the Gaza war in a week. But be that as it may, Mr. Gulati, I come with a very heavy heart of what has gone, the Kabuki theater that happened yesterday with our 3-hour ceasefire. Sometimes I wonder if the conflict between India and Pakistan is simply a conflict between two nations, or is it a civilizational conflict? I've always thought that Pakistan is not just in a financial or a political crisis. I mean, they have an identity crisis because this Hinduized Islam, especially in our part of the subcontinent, and now Bangladesh is again paying us back for liberating them, pun intended. This country was purely based on the pathological hatred for the youth and the Hanud. I mean, God bless Daniel Pearl's soul, and it touches my heart to see his parents singing the national anthem. But that's a country with an identity crisis, and there's a word in Hindi or Urdu called wujud. The entire basis of that rogue nation and that insurgent army is only how to bring the so-called Kafirs down. I mean, imagine if India wasn't there, their country would probably dismantle by itself because they don't have an enemy. I mean, when Pakistan was made as a country because of the ego tussle between two so-called stalwarts, I mean, 17% of the resources, 19% of the population, but 33% of the GQ, the army came to them, of them independent India, which is what Rawalpindi. So the next thing was, because ayin to bana nahi, so next thing was to, tab dushman kaise khada kare? How do we justify the budgets of this insurgent army? So from 1947 to 2025, even this new mullah / a disgrace on the word army, a so-called journal, is still living in his, under the rock where he says कि Hindu और Musliman इकट्ठे नहीं रह सकते. I mean, I think we should, they should speak to Elon Musk and have this entire country put somewhere up in Mars or somewhere, because I don't think they're fit to stay with anybody. That's one. And two, I'm sorry I'm going to sound like a little extremist, but I think the only way to solve this problem is to have Pakistan dismembered. I mean, these Aman ki Ashas, and then, we've taken one Johnny out, the other two, then the other two will come out. End of the day, the fountainhead is the rogue army, the deep state. So we can keep taking these Johnnies out, which they pick up from the hinterland, give them some badam and some kishmish and some cash and say, chalo beta, chale jao, Hindustan, jannat naseeb hogi, hure wait kar rahe hain. Do we have time for that? With 7% of a growth and, from the fourth largest economy, we have to become the third largest. Do we have time for this nonsensical? I mean, I say this malignant cancer has to be dealt with.
Yes. So
otherwise,
so
look
that's
at what we've been doing for 88 years now.
So, Mr. Lali, that's a lot of people can think that, okay, this was the moment. It's not as easy as that. Jaish-e-Mohammed